Hello and welcome to Consciousness TV. During today's session, we'll be meditating together on loving kindness, moving deeper into the experience of loving ourselves, exploring how that feels and how we can go more deeply into that state of being. Before we do the meditation together, I'd like to share with you an excerpt from the book Transcendence Journey of the Soul that Rama and I are working on at the moment. This excerpt is about loving kindness in relation to our healing process and our spiritual awakening. Only kindness and acceptance extended by ourselves towards ourselves has the capacity to bring about the transformation of the body of our experience into a body of love. It is only through this body of love that we begin to enter resonance with the intelligence that gives rise to all existence. Non-duality can only be accessed fully as we embrace this moment, this body, this experience as fundamentally composed of the very one that we are seeking, no matter how it appears to us. As we turn towards this little self with that precise awareness of profound value, wonder, gratitude and awe that we as human beings usually direct towards the absolute, that state of recognition arises naturally. It comes from who we are. The one we are loving when we love ourselves is the same one we are seeking through enlightenment or liberation. Whatever we negate becomes a paradox that keeps us out of conscious unity. What we embrace enters coherence. Objectification and unforgiveness, even towards ourselves, is our default setting when we are anxious or afraid. Then we become a problem to ourselves in our own mind, and the world around us appears as a problem to be avoided, blamed, punished, or fixed. In response to our spiritual practice, these objectifications, these places of unforgiveness, inevitably rise to the surface to be transformed. We have the opportunity to offer ourselves the gift of resolution in the very places in our psyche where defensiveness and objectification have created a paradox. We cannot awaken within a mind-body field that we do not love and accept fully, because the attitude of aversion, no matter how subtle, holds us at a harmonic distance from the very state we are seeking. Supraconsciousness, the amness of the universe, is all-embracing. To enter the proximity of that reality, we must be willing to surrender all our denial and aversion, as well as our clinging. Put simply, this is the state of yes to what is. Not because we like it, but because we recognize its impermanent nature, and we allow it to be integrated with the light of pure being, unqualified, and the light of our own unconditional love. We cannot awaken fully while negating the value of our own existence as human beings, because that attitude creates a fundamental vibrational paradox. This is why asceticism doesn't serve our awakening, except to exhaust us enough to finally let the love in. This is why self-punishment or trying to imagine ourselves into non-existence doesn't work. It may get us part of the way through the mire of negative self-absorption. It may get us out of our own way temporarily, but ultimately we need to release the tendency towards self-harm and self-negation to allow awakening to arise and to remain in an abiding way. We must turn from treating ourselves as an object within time to realizing we are the source from which time arises. Whenever we bring the full attention of our heart to our inner space, we turn our experience from an object to the subject of our consciousness. Consciousness itself amplifies its presence within us. In this space of expanded possibility, love changes the spots on the leopard. You know, there's a saying, the leopard can't change its spots. In the presence of supraconsciousness, in the presence of soul and presence, the leopard easily changes its spots. Love awareness rewrites the script of our lives. It reframes our past experiences and the fixed sense of identity formed from those experiences. Then the spacious presence of our deeper consciousness becomes visible. Our small, conditioned personal self is bathed in unconditional awareness. It is gifted a far deeper and broader, compassionate perspective, one that was not accessible to us at the time of our original past experiences. Kindness towards ourselves plays a key role in our awakening. When we commit to staying fully present, we become both the witness and the co-creator within our living experience. Our experience, all experience, arises from an intention and is energized by a wave of love consciousness. To stay this present requires trust. Trust in the light of consciousness and in the embodied process that is the expression of that consciousness. So what does all this mean for us when we sit down to meditate, when we engage in spiritual practices, and when we go about the business of our daily lives? What does this really mean for us? One way of looking at it is to realize that you are realizing the sacred when you turn towards yourself. That this personal self, this human personality with this body, these emotions, these thoughts, these feelings, is part of divine reality. That it isn't a mistake, it isn't a plan B, it isn't a problem. It is an expression of a powerful intention and of a wave of love consciousness. And the more you turn towards yourself with kindness, no matter what you're experiencing, no matter how you're feeling about yourself at a human level, when you turn towards yourself with kindness, you set in motion a wave of intention, a wave of love consciousness directed towards your own being. That is at the very heart of healing. in a way, when you do that, you are divine nature itself. You are I amness, coming to tend to your own human condition. That's a remarkable thing. You know, as human beings, we're used to placing our attention in one particular way. We have a kind of postage stamp awareness most of the time. And it can be hard for us to imagine how the I amness, the amness of the universe, relates to all of creation, to you and me and the billions of stars and galaxies in the universe, to the blade of grass and the newborn baby and the clouds in the sky. How does the amness relate to all of this? The deeper in you go into the amness, the more you realise how it innately cherishes all the expressions of itself. It has no value judgment towards them. It has no critical mindset towards them. It has no wish to punish any of the expressions of itself. Those ways of relating are part of the limitations of our human perception, of our human condition. And as we go deeper in consciousness, as we approach that experience of direct I amness or amness, we realise that we are free to release those judgments. We are free to release those critical perceptions that we have directed towards ourselves and towards life. And by engaging with ourselves and with life in a way that is non-judgmental, that is warm, that is kind, and that is embracing, we resolve our human paradox, the paradox between our human perception and the amness that we are at the deepest level. The more we hold on to the judgments, the more we cling to the things of time, the more we objectify ourselves and life around us, the more we create that vibrational distance from the very love that we're seeking, from that unity consciousness that we're seeking. So we don't become non-dual by pushing everything away, especially not by pushing away the things about ourselves that we don't like or which trouble us. We get closer to non-dual amness by being with all those things we don't like about ourselves, all the things which cause us suffering, all the things which trigger us. At some level, we are frightened that those things are going to keep us in 3D. When we push those things away, we just delay our awakening, we delay our healing. We end up in an impasse, we end up in a vibrational paradox, because we are separating ourselves from ourselves. We're splitting internally. And it's one of the challenges in spiritual awakening that so often we want to experience the amness, we want to experience our non-dual nature, we want to go beyond this 3D prison, this 3D heaviness, limitation of perception, and we think we can do that by applying 3D methods. The fact is we can't apply 3D methods to becoming non-dual. What we can do is build a bridge to non-duality through the experience of our own love, through the experience of the love that we create as human beings and which we experience in its pure form in our light body, in the causal dimensions of our inner being. That dimension of light body vibrationally bridges our human personality and our formless nature as I amness or amness. If you imagine it like a sphere, a circle or a sphere, and outside that sphere, outside that rainbow bubble, there is non-duality of varying depths. I won't go into the detail of that here, but to all human intents and purposes, that is non-duality. It's formless awareness. And imagine that inside the bubble, inside that sphere, there are various forms of dual experience, of duality experience. Some less dense, some more dense. Right in the centre of that sphere, I'd like you to imagine a point of light. That point of light is somewhat hidden by all the duality that's going on in that sphere, in that bubble. However, it is the very nexus or hub of that sphere, that bubble of duality. The duality within the bubble, the duality within the sphere, is constantly being suffused with the consciousness from deep within the centre of the sphere. From within the nexus, the 0 point, the hub in the centre of that sphere. What is surrounding the sphere, that is non-dual, is also rising up from within the sphere through its very centre. Now that's a simple picture of who you are as a human being. You are both the non-duality, the amness that surrounds the sphere. You are all the dimensions of duality experience within the sphere, some more formless, some less formless, some of greater density, some of lesser density. And within the very centre of your sphere is the same non-dual awareness, the same I amness that surrounds the sphere. You can imagine it as a vast formless light carrying a rainbow bubble. And then in the centre of that rainbow bubble, that same immense, intense luminosity of I amness is emerging. It is constantly arising, emerging, pulsing, sending out waves of intention, and it is having the experience of duality, of this and that, of lover and beloved, of space, matter and time, within the context of that sphere, that multi-dimensional sphere of creation. And you are that. You are all of that. You are the formless and the form. You are that which has no thoughts, no feelings, no sensations, and that which seems to be all thoughts, feelings and sensations, all this and that within space, matter and time. So when you, at the deepest level, look at the subject of kindness, kindness in your spiritual practice, who is it who is being kind, and to whom are they being kind, really? In your practice, you may start with the feeling, I am being kind to myself. I, this person, am being kind to the person that I am. My loving heart is tending with kindness towards the parts of my personality that suffer. That is usually where meditation and spiritual practice begin. And they have to begin there, and they have to continue to include that perspective. As you go deeper in your practice, your sense of who you are will shift. the one who is loving, the one who is being loved. What is this space of kindness that is being created and is being enjoyed? Who is the one creating the space of kindness? Who is the one enjoying and benefiting from this space of kindness? So these are the kind of philosophical discussions that often take place in non-duality circles, and they are certainly related to shifts of perception that occur in meditation and that can occur in daily life as a result of self-inquiry. Answering this question, who am I? So allow yourself the joy of the journey of answering this question. Really, the answer incorporates everything, every aspect of your being, all the way to your deepest human feelings, sensations, struggles and sufferings. All of it is part of your true nature as consciousness, just showing up in a different way, showing up in a different form. And so that allows a freedom, that awareness allows a freedom. You now have permission to love yourself and to know why it's natural to give yourself this permission. So any ideas you had that loving yourself was a bit odd or a bit selfish, or you should be focused on other people or the suffering of the world, and you needed to put the healing of your own being on the back burner, you're free to release all those kinds of concepts now. The one, I amness, the amness of the universe, does not hold such concepts. It can't possibly hold those concepts in its pure state. It loves all that is because it is all that is, and it loves all that is equally because it is equally this and that, me and you. And so as you go within and you tend to yourself with kindness, you can tend to those places inside you that really suffer and really struggle and find life heavy going with a renewed tenderness, with a deeper tenderness and patience. Let time totally slow down. You don't have to fix this in a hurry. What you need to do is be with it with love, with intention, with that wave of intention of turning towards yourself, setting that wave of love in motion, directed towards your own suffering so that your suffering can be healed. And with it, any imprisonment in duality is also healed. So what we're going to be doing now is a kindness meditation, turning towards yourself with mercy, with compassion, with forgiveness, and breathing this into the body, really coming into the body, letting the love land where it is most needed. So settle down comfortably now, and we'll begin the meditation on loving kindness. And we'll begin by breathing some deep heart breaths, focusing your awareness in the center of your chest and intending to feel the light deep within your heart. If it helps, you can imagine a white shining light in the center of your chest, growing brighter and brighter with each breath. With each in-breath, Expand your chest, breathe in as deeply as you can. And as you reach the peak of your in-breath, hold for a few seconds and experience yourself. Before releasing your breath, breathing out deeply, all the way out so your chest empties. And before you breathe in again, for a few seconds, just experience yourself. Keep breathing in this gentle rhythm of the deep in-breath, holding your breath, deep out-breath, holding your breath out, and then breathing in again. And as you breathe, imagine, intend an atmosphere of kindness. You may remember moments in your life where you have felt kindness. Or where others have shown you kindness and you have felt that in your heart. Allow that atmosphere of kindness to fill your chest as you breathe. Each in-breath becomes a welcoming yes to this atmosphere of kindness. Every out-breath becomes a gentle releasing, a letting go of anything that holds you back from receiving kindness. As the feeling of kindness grows, you notice your body is free to relax. Already now, you are beginning to create a space of safety for yourself. A place to come home to. Notice how the atmosphere of kindness flows into your spine now. Flows up into your neck, into the base of your brain. Every in-breath becomes a receiving of the atmosphere of kindness. Every out-breath becomes a releasing of tension, a receiving of kindness. And from your spine, kindness flows into your brain and into your neck and throat. They too become spaces of kindness, spaces of safety. Every out-breath is a relief and a release of tension, of holding within the body. Thoughts and feelings and bodily tensions are free to flow out with every out-breath. And on each in-breath, the space of kindness grows stronger, deeper, filling your brain and your head, filling your neck and throat, filling the space behind your head, filling the space behind your neck. You are safe. You are welcome. And you are loved. Kindness settles into your body deeper and deeper. In the presence of this atmosphere of kindness, you are free to relax. Bringing your awareness down your spine now, noticing how your chest is filled with the atmosphere of kindness. How the space behind your shoulders and your upper back is filling with kindness now. Receiving deeply with each in-breath, relaxing with each out-breath. As you relax, your awareness naturally expands. Staying awake in your awareness, bringing this awareness now down to your stomach, to your digestive organs, and to your kidneys. With each in-breath, bringing this feeling of kindness, this atmosphere of kindness into the middle of your body. With each out-breath, relaxing your stomach, your digestive organs, your kidneys. Relaxing your spine here in the middle of your body. Resting in kindness with each breath. A kindness that now sustains itself, becomes a space of healing within you and around you. In this safe space, you are free to relax now. In this safe space, you are free to receive now. Allow the feeling of kindness, gentleness to permeate your organs, your spine, in the middle of your body. Notice where you may have been hard upon yourself in your thoughts, your attitudes, your feelings, how you have treated your body. And into these places now breathe the atmosphere of kindness, the texture of kindness. Bring kindness into the space behind your body. Allow the atmosphere of gentleness, tenderness to become stronger in the space behind you. The space around you is not really empty space at all. This space contains more subtle aspects of your own being. Your awareness is now gently expanding to fill the space around you. To connect with these subtler dimensions of your own being. These subtle dimensions are filling with kindness now. With the atmosphere of your own gentleness towards yourself. If you meet any areas of tension or heaviness, any areas that feel chaotic or conflicted, bring your awareness into them and imagine kindness dissolving them gently, softly, safely, dissolving them. With each in-breath, the light of your own kindness expands and fills these places of suffering, of tension, of disconnection. As the light fills them, they relax, release, dissolve naturally in the safe space you are creating with your awareness. Wish yourself well in these places. Wish yourself joy. Wish yourself peace. Wish yourself positive experiences of life. As you breathe and place awareness in these parts of your own mind-body field, you are saying to those places, I love you, I see you, I hear you, I'm here to help you. Notice what happens when you speak kindly to yourself. Notice what happens when you breathe with the intention and atmosphere of kindness in these places in your mind-body field. Places that you don't like, that are uncomfortable, that you want to move away from in your daily life. Notice what happens as you stay present with yourself with kindness. Imagine what would happen if you brought this same kindness to yourself in your daily life. Your relationship with yourself is at the center of your healing, at the center of your awakening. Bring your awareness down to your lower back now, to your spine, to your abdomen and pelvis, and to your perineal area at the base of your body. Breathe into this abdominal pelvic space with kindness. Receiving with each in-breath, softening and relaxing with each out-breath. Relaxing all the way down to your tailbone. All through your lower back and in the space behind your lower back. You may notice as you do this that you settle down deeper into your body. You come more fully into your physical body. As you create this safe, peaceful space for yourself, it becomes easier and easier to come into your body, to be fully here, to be present now. Yourself to drop deeper and deeper into this spacious sense of being present. Notice the gentleness with which you come into your body. The gentleness that allows your subtle senses to open. You are in your body now, and you are also spacious awareness. And with each in-breath, this gentle, kind spaciousness opens more and more deeply within you and around you. With each out-breath, your body relaxes and you become more aware within your body. Become aware of your legs and feet, allowing the atmosphere of gentleness and kindness to fill your legs and feet now. Imagine that the light of kindness is shining in the soles of both your feet. Imagine that both your feet are now shining with a warm light like sunlight. Imagine that this same light, warm like sunlight, is also shining in your knees. And this light, warm like sunlight, is shining in your hips. Bringing your awareness to your heart center now. Breathing some deep heart breaths. Feeling how you receive in your heart this feeling of kindness, this atmosphere of kindness. And the atmosphere of kindness now flows down your arms to your hands. You feel the bright light, warm as sunlight, glowing in the palms of your hands. You notice the light, warm as sunlight, glowing also in your elbows and your shoulders. Bringing your awareness back to your heart center and bringing your awareness back to your heart center now. Feeling how the light in the center of your chest expands to fill your chest. How the atmosphere of kindness expands outwards from your body in all directions to encompass you. you are free to relax and to receive this love. Preparing now to slowly return to daily consciousness, opening your eyes.